what just happened? The whole situation is very weird. I have a story I've been wanting to tell y'all for a long time. Now that I am not in that environment and that I'm safe, I can literally talk about it now. So my neighbor had died mysteriously. And it's still a mystery. And I'm safe now, not even in that environment, to tell the story. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Let's just talk about it. So here in Mexico, a lot of the houses are close together. And I had just moved into this new neighborhood. It was an upper class neighborhood, and the more upper class the neighborhood is, the more space you have. Even though it was upper class neighborhood, I still was the backyard of someone else. So I was renting out this little beautiful loft, and my bedroom was facing, my bedroom was in their bed, to their backyard, basically. So what this means is that because they build their houses with cinder blocks, you can smell a lot of times when your neighbors are cooking. Sometimes you can hear them when they're having conversations, fussing. You can hear the kids fighting. You can hear a lot because there's not like a lot of insulation that goes into the building of these houses. And I love how they build houses though, but it's not soundproof. The reason why it was necessary for me to talk about that aspect, it was to also paint the picture of what the things that I've heard, just how close we were in proximity to each other. So we backyard to backyard. So I had just moved into this place and I started hearing a woman cry. But at first I thought it was a kid. You know how kids are, getting your butt whooped because they're disobedient to their parents. When they try their parents and they find out. I thought that was a situation. But then I realized after weeks and weeks and weeks of hearing this woman cry, that it was actually a woman crying. So one day I heard this woman crying, and I also heard a man fussing along with her. And I was like, oh, is that a man fussing with his kid? Like, I don't like the way he's talking to his daughter. And I realized like that's a wife talking to the... So I don't know if they were actually husband and wife or if they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know the dynamic exactly. But it was a couple nonetheless. And so he was fussing with her and actually putting his hands on her. You know how sometimes you can hear when somebody's getting hit on and things like that. You can actually hear that. And so me having go through the same situation before, went through a domestic violence before. I'm heavily concerned, and I know I didn't want to be involved, but I am involved in a way because I hear everything.
Go away! I can't. I'm involved now.
And so, because I'm so deep in that, domestic violence always concerns me because, once again, I lived through that. And there were times where neighbors got involved, where they actually helped me and called the police. And if they didn't do that, I don't know where I would be. So with that going in my mind, I'm the type of person that I don't like to get involved in people's business, but because I heard everything, I was like, how could I not get involved in it? I hear everything every day, all night. And I'm looking around to the left, looking around to the right to see what other neighbors are going to do. Are they going to break that fight up? Because I know if I hear it, the people left to me and the people right of me, they hear it as well as their neighbors from the left and right of them. So I'm like, is nobody going to say anything? They just typically mind their business. They just let this girl get beat on. And I'm new to Mexico, so I'm like, if this was in the States, I would have called 911 and, gave them the address, like, hey, they were fighting, whatever the case may be, because I don't really stand for domestic violence at all. And I'm really compassionate about it, as you see, because I was one of those girls in those types of relationships. So I'm not going to just stand there and not do anything. That's just me personally. So one night they got into a big argument. It was so loud, it was so long, it was so dramatic. And I heard her fussing, they were fussing, he was fussing, and I remember her distinctly like going off on him, cursing him out and things like that. I couldn't pick up on everything she was saying because she was crying. And so I ended up like, oh my God, I can't take this no more. I'm going to walk around there. Like, maybe I could just call the police. I don't know what to do. But I ended up walking around there. And by the time I walked around there, she ended up getting in her car and leave. And then she left. I meant to say she removed herself from the situation. And so from that point on, I didn't hear her crying anymore. I didn't hear her getting beat on anymore. I just didn't hear any of that. And so a couple of months later, fast forward, maybe like, I'm gonna say about 6 months later. So about 6 months later, I hear her fussing again. I hear her crying again. And I'm like, wait, they're still together? I thought they broken up because of that big fight the other day. I mean, a few months before. I thought, because I haven't heard. Because once again, I used to hear her every day crying and fussing at him. I don't know what the man did. He could probably cheat on the girl. I don't know. But I remember some of the words that the final words she said to him with that big fight was like, I hope I never meet somebody like you. Something along those lines. Y'all know I'm working on the Spanish, so it was like something, I wish I'd never met you. It's like, I'm going to meet somebody better than you, and it was just like, I regret you, or something like along those lines. And I was like, man, she sounded like she was really hurt. So I'm thinking that they was broken up at this point. And when they went their separate ways. And it's also the very reason why you don't want to get in, people are apprehensive about getting involved in domestic violence situations, because sometimes the girls, they end up like right back with them, because love is blind sometimes, But anyway, 6 months later, I heard her crying and screaming again. I'm like, oh my God, they got back together. I thought they was broken up, It's like a soap opera. Yes, I was involved, unfortunately, because we backyard to backyard. No, I don't want to be creeping and watching people and all that. That's not in my repertoire. But it was like, how could I not be involved? How could I not hear these things? How could I not be watching? Because it's like y'all involving people and y'all know that these walls are thin and things like that. So I heard her loudly crying and yelling, and I said, damn, they back together. And so it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and this is like the day after Valentine's Day. So I'm thinking in my head, oh, they probably got back together for Valentine's Day. You know how Valentine's Day be making you feel bad if you're a single person. So she was screaming and yelling and saying, mi amor, wake up. And I'm like, what you mean, wake up? So I peep out the window. I could see them. I can't really see inside they living room well, because it was dark. But I seen like a hand laying on the couch. And I'm like, she kept telling him to wake up. And I'm like, he probably just drunk or whatever. It was just Valentine's Day, right? And so, I don't know why the camera doing that. And so I'm like, he just had too much to drink or whatever the case may be. That's why, she can't really wake him up and stuff like that. But she kept saying, wake up. And he was not waking up. And then my heart dropped. I was like, oh my God, he died. Bro's dead. Bro gone. And I'm like, and she just kept saying, wake up. And he would not wake up. So he passed away. He died. And then after her trying to wake him up for like 10 minutes strong, she called the police after that. I'm not a detective. I'm not saying it was foul play involved. But the man, mind you, he was young. Probably like 30, late 30s. Same for her, 20, late 30s. He was young. And he used to beat this girl. And obviously she didn't want to let go because she was still with him. And then he just mysteriously ends up dying the day after. Maybe they reconnected, or maybe they've been reconnected. I don't know. After the police came, I guess they were like taking photos and things like that. And I'm like, just like this the whole time. What just happened? It's like I witnessed a story from the beginning to the end. And no, I didn't want to be involved in this, or I didn't want to even know this. I didn't even want to have to like think about this, but it happened. And part of me like wanted to believe that she kind of did something, and it maybe something made me feel like maybe she didn't. Maybe just he had that one coming because he would abuse the girl. I don't know. Maybe did she poison him? I don't know. Did she do sparrow work? I don't know what happened. But all I know is that it happened. And it's very mysterious. Because once again, he's young. Well, could he have just like had too much to drink the day before and maybe took something that an illegal substance and then that added to heart failure or something like that? Because he was just way too young to go. And just because he was beating on a girl, he didn't deserve to die. And then I just want to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt too, because I know how God works sometimes. Like, you have a bully and then God like, okay, I'll take the bully out, or whatever the case may be. But it was just very mysterious, very strange. It was very weird. And if she's innocent, I am glad that she doesn't have to be abused anymore. I'm glad that he can actually rest. But the whole situation is very weird to me, to say the least. And that was the end of that story, y'all. The end. So if you live in Mexico, if you're from Mexico, what do y'all typically do when y'all witness things like this? Because what I heard through a Mexican friend, that this is very common. Domestic violence is very common. And it doesn't seem like there is a lot of resources and help for women who are faced with these types of things. And I remember going to one of the, I think this country, I think Mexico is one of those countries that don't really put women first. I remember I got on the bus, the Auto Progressive bus, to go to the beach. All these men jumped up first. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. That's my personality. Like, go ahead and go. But all of the women were at the back of the line after all these men got off. Should I have just like, I did mind my business, but like in cases like that, then you just mind your business. Y'all call the police secretly. Like, please leave some comments down below, because I really would like to know. But I know in the States, I would have just called the police, me personally. I wouldn't have gotten involved, because for my own safety. But like I said again, I don't even live in that area no more, so whatever. But that's pretty much it. I am Shai. Welcome to this channel, y'all. And I live in Mexico. I'm from New Orleans, and I've been in Mexico for 3 years, and I just basically share all my experiences, good and bad, right here on this platform. And I let y'all know how it really is living in Mexico. And I've been doing that for about almost 3 years, telling y'all what it is in Mexico. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. If you'd like to join the family, come on and join us.